Hello.
Hello.
We're going to answer a question today about kids and marriage. How to maintain a strong marriage with kids. And I think this is funny because Seth is cutting an onion, and this is really distracting to me, and it's going to make me cry, and that basically sums up life with children.
Right.
So how do you maintain a strong marriage with kids? That is already hurting my eyes.
How many kids do we have?
3. But I think
Yes, we do.
the first part is acceptance. You have to accept that you have children and that nothing is the same ever again.
I have this kid. I accept that fact.
Right? I mean, it is like, I just think that it's one of those moments that changes everything.
Yeah.
But our culture can paint that in such a negative way, and TV and movies they portray kids as
nuisances or
whatever.
How can you have kids? Blah blah blah.
But just because culture paints that picture of being a parent or having children or what it's like to raise kids, that doesn't mean that it's true, and it doesn't mean that you have to buy what culture is selling you. Right. And I think for us, being able to integrate the things that are valued by our children into our daily lives in a way that we find good is really important to us. For example,
like what?
Lego Movie Batman. We love it. It's great. We can watch it all the time. We watch it in the van, and it's fun, and we like sing goofy songs from the movie with our children, and it's just a way to kind of be happy about having kids and being us.
Or to connect, connect with the kids too. So maybe this, these onions are kind of killing me. So maybe this...
It's your idea.
Yeah, I know. Maybe the question is about how do we make time? And this really depends on the age of the kids. If you have a 1-year-old, your sleep is going to be nuts, but it's really important to be intentional about your time with your spouse. Maybe that's go on a date night, maybe that's go on a date coffee, or when the kids are in bed. I mean, every single couple with kids goes through this same thing, so it's a very normal thing. We want to bring some normalization to that. And if you have family nearby, that's even a plus. Get them to watch the kids.
If that's safe, if that's an option.
Yeah, if that's an option, of course. But I think the main thing is be intentional around that. Because I don't know really what the question is. Do you want time not with the kid, time to connect with your spouse?
Well, I can think of from a mom example. I mean, I was a stay-at-home mom forever, and it was really hard for me to I felt like I had to be on all the time, if that makes sense. Like I felt like as a mom and a parent, I always have to be like, I'm like on call to put a Band-Aid on or wipe a butt or wipe snot off of something or make a meal. And I know that one of the things that has made our marriage stronger since having kids was Seth taking over some of those responsibilities in a loving way. Like dinner. Like you do dinner. I don't do it anymore because it was so stressful to me. And I felt like that was interrupting so many other things in our relationship. You have to stop. Where I couldn't, like getting to be intimate with you was that much harder because it was like dinner and then dishes and then kids. But if you took the chores of doing the dinner, I would do the dishes, we would help the kids together. It just made all of that so much shorter, and then we could enjoy a little bit more time together.
So a delegation of responsibilities or
loving delegation, working to each other's strengths. Like Seth is much better at cooking than I am, and so we should lean into that as opposed to saying, well, you're the stay-at-home wife, you should cook every meal. Well, okay, we'll eat macaroni every night. What do I care? I don't care, and I would eat that. So that is something I think is really valuable, is leaning into the strengths of your spouse and not just saying, oh, these are the gender norms or these are the marital norms that we've heard forever. No, like find your strengths and your power as a couple. Lean into that, because with kids, it's like you're like a military team and you're always in battle and, and everything is like, it never ends.
You're always on. But how about this? Throw out what you maybe thought you should be doing in a marriage. Oh, mom will do this and dad will do this and the kids will do this. Throw that stuff out, because when we compare and then we don't live up to that comparison, that's where the craziness and the frustration gets. So if the husband cooks better or the wife cooks better, who cares?
Or the wife makes more money and could work less hours, and the family could be happy to do that.
Right. Then literally, who cares? Like, there's so many gender and cultural norms that don't work.
They're
anymore.
not healthy.
Right. They're not healthy. They're whatever. But how about this? If those norms work for you, then do it. Whatever works for you mutually. Like, you have to have a conversation with your spouse around this. Whatever works for both of you and your kids, then do that. If it looks like, oh, well, we eat dinner at 1 a.m. If that works for you, I can't imagine it would. But if it works for you, then absolutely 100% do it.
Yeah.
I literally don't care. Like, I'm sick of...
Find the place of health and then sort of lean into that. Whatever
Right.
that looks like. It's different for every person and every relationship. Another thing that I wanted to say too, I think is really important, is figuring out how to find... So date nights are a really hard thing in my mind because I don't love them because they're standardized. Date night equals you go to Red Robin and have a shake and a burger, and it's like that's like the last.
That's
thing.
why I didn't say date nights. I was like, be intentional.
You did say date nights.
Dang it! Well, be intentional about.
I'm speaking. So I think date nights are sometimes not as helpful as they're painted to be. And a lot of times they talk about that in churches, like just have a set Friday night date night with your wife. And it's like sometimes your wife has been like, had kids climbing all over her all day, and then you're going to take her to some restaurant with like loud music. That's the zero thing that she might want to do, or vice versa, whatever, doesn't matter to the wife. But sometimes it would be, a date night can be, so let's rename it. It's a connection time. It's not a date night because it could be the day. So instead of date night, we have connection time. Right? CT. We're going to do CT.
Why not?
And so for your connection time, you could do a puzzle. That might bring you more deeper connection than date night, although you hate puzzles.
I hate puzzles.
I love puzzles. You could play a video game. I love video games, and I think they're great. And I would love to play Mario Kart with you and smoke you and win every time. There's also, you could do any number of things. Go on a hike. It doesn't have to involve money. It doesn't have to be something expensive. I think a lot of times we try to like just have these little boxes that we tick off and like, oh, I went to the restaurant with my wife, and oh, we did these things that were, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think if we can change the way we view our children, they're not like annoying little turds. They can be, but if we change the way we see them and change the way we interact with them, it actually will change all of these other things. It's a domino effect for sure.
Yeah, big time.
In marriages and stuff.
Yeah, awesome question. There's a lot of listeners that have kids, so this is a good question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
keep bringing them.